Hello, friends of the messy workspace, and welcome to this evening talk about characters and posing models in general. Because I don't know, I just think posing is very important, and I wanted to get that out there into the world. Um, so, what is important for a good character? I would say the story is very important. Fun thing, this guy here actually has no story. I just built him because he looked cool. That's the second thing. He has to look cool. A character always has to look cool. Um, and the third thing is he needs good posing. That kind of goes hand in hand with that he looks cool. But yeah, so I've brought some examples of just models. I think I managed to pull that off, the whole thing. I'm gonna start with this example. An easy way of having a cool character is always taking an existing character. Hey, haha, this is Zergatagost. Um, he is son of Horus, and he's kind of like the propaganda a propaganda preacher. And there's this one scene on Istvan 3 where they're all standing together, the newly named Sons of Horus, and are going to murder the still loyal Sons of Horus and all the others. Um, and yeah, the scene really, I really like the scene, and I imagined him standing up there and talking about how great Horus is. And I just took that scene, listened a bit about how he looks like with the wolf's pelt. He has a wolf's pelt. Later on, he has the nails in his skull. I just included that because I thought it was cool. And then I thought about the pose. How would a preacher look? You basically have to look up a picture of a preacher and you get this pose. It's not magic. So I just, yeah, gave him this pose. Then I added some characterizing bits, like this is a leg of a Sons of Horus Praetor. Mm, this is a scroll. I don't know. It's a random scroll. I even think it's lead from some old Terminator kit. I gave it a Space Wolves backpack. I think this whole model is based on Ulrich the Slayer. So this base backpack came in the kit, but I thought it's just fitting because they were the Lunar Wolves a couple of hours ago, so they are likely to have some iconography left. And then I painted a banner, um, yeah, that is described in the scene, a hand holding a planet. So yeah, that's the first example. Pick an existing character, listen to how he looks, think about how you think he looks, because that's a big thing. I imagined Zergatagos to look like this. If you imagine him to look else, if you imagine him like having crazy hair or something like that, do it. Do it. It's your world, it's your army. Build the characters like you think they look. Now we're gonna come to this unpainted guy. He's been like that for like 3 to 4 months. Um, I wanted an armistice because the idea of a HQ with a heavy weapon is very cool. He has no real lore to him. He has no backstory. He doesn't even have a drilled out gun barrel. Um, yeah, this just was came out of my mind. It was a certain stroke of creativity that sometimes happens. The only thing that can really hold you back when you have that creativity push is the feeling that you're not good enough to do it. And I felt that with this model because the parts are so random. This is an old lead upgrade. The body is an old lead upgrade bit from, I think, Iron Hands. The legs are a Chaos Space Marine legs. The gun is a very old lead las gun that I just upgraded with some random bits lying around. And for a long time, this looked like shit. But then it kind of came together, and the important thing in that process was that I just kept on pushing. I kept on pushing, trusting myself that it was gonna look good and not getting caught onto detail. Because if you remove his arm, which I magnetized, not for magnetizing it, just for, I don't know why I like magnetizing, leave me alone. This sword sheath ends in nowhere. These are just things. If you convert something or design your own model and character, it's not that important, because when you first looked at it, you thought cool, and you didn't think like, oh wait, there's no blade in that sheath and the blade ends in a rough cut, because it's partially covered sometimes. So another important thing, or another option, is do something cool that comes to your mind. You can't force it. You have to like have the idea in mind, and sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. So that's the second thing. Be like brave. Trust yourself that you can do shit, and you're gonna get some cool results. And if not, you have learned something, and you can do it better next time. So this is another thing I sometimes do. I have here in front of me three dreadnoughts of the Contemptor class. And I built all these three. I had them lying around, and I built them all at the same time. And obviously, this is the Forge World one. These two are the plastic ones. Um, and I thought, okay, what could I do that all these three guys look cool on the battlefield? Because that's all you want. You know they perform. You know they beat ass. So they just need to look cool from this point on. Of course, the Volkite Coven is on there for lore reasons and not because it's utterly overpowered. And I thought, okay, I have three dreadnoughts. I need three different personalities. May I present to you the range guy? He is focused on long range fighting. He is standing there, pretty still, not very dynamic, turning around to see his new victim. There are some bullet sleeves lying on the floor to implicate that he's firing a lot of weapons, because, of course, this las cannon is emitting these shell things. Then we have the angry boy. By the way, these are magnetized. Don't worry. This combination of two close combat weapons is pretty shit. We have the angry guy. He's running forward, charging, has many spikes on him, many chains. Um, yeah, that's the whole thing of him. He's just angry and charges forward. Maybe I need to do some blood on him to emphasize that. And this is like the old veteran guy. He stands beside them. He guards them. They wouldn't function without him, because he tells him attack that, and he tells him shoot that, so he can attack. He's kind of the head behind of these two, and so he needed a stable pose that asserts dominance. It's kind of goofy to say that, but yeah, just like a stance that looks like he's towering over the battlefield, overlooking what happens and making important decisions. So I just did that, and it works. It looks cool. I also opted to have him turn to the right, him turn to the left, and him just facing straight. So they also look cool just standing as the three of them. And you can do that with basically any squad that goes up to 5 models, I think. Even 5 Terminators you could still model so they would look cool. Yeah, that's another thing. If you have a couple of models which you don't know the poses, just combine them with other models. Think again of a little fluff. Why are they standing together like that? Who is who? Why is he doing that? Why is he looking like that? Um, yeah, exactly. So these another thing I do. Now, when it comes to posing, you can sometimes run into trouble with the difficulty of like envisioning how arms gonna look, how a head is gonna look. And what I do to eliminate that problem is, like on the sergeant, I just pin all the limbs. Oops, that something fell off. I think it was a head. Shit, I think I won't find it again. It was the second head that fell down. I just pin the limbs, and so I can move them around, bend them a bit. It's not the cleanest way, but it works, and if it works, it's good. The torso, the head, I always do a bit later because to me it's easier to imagine the head looking in different directions than like the arms being in different directions, or being in different positions, you should say. So yeah, I always leave the head out. Yeah, that's what I do to find these poses. Another thing I wanted to talk about were these two sergeants. They're just the sergeants of my tactical squads, and I played a bit with weight on these because they look very different. They have the same torso, but they still look different, and that is because this guy I gave a lot of weight like around his legs, and this guy is very heavy on top because of all of his skulls and his skulls around his waist. But nothing goes lower than like this. And yeah, I just experimented with that. I thought, hey, wouldn't that be fun? Blah blah blah. To see how that looks, and instantly I started developing like a thought process about who are they. He just collects skulls of his enemy. He's just a guy who has many grenades on him because he likes throwing grenades. And I often have this that like from certain starting points, it just starts snowballing into other things, and suddenly you have a character and another character, and you have these two guys, and if they stand on the battlefield facing the enemy, and it's not a smart decision to throw a grenade, but you throw it, and you're like have little kicks of dopamine because you think, yeah, look, there are grenades on there, and he throws a grenade, and then you're happy. And this is what this hobby is all about. Honestly, just be happy, do what you want, have confidence. Seriously, this banner is not high skilled fucking this is not even, I didn't even use an airbrush for this. This is just me goofing around. This is not hard, okay? I'm not a super skilled painter. This was just luck. The purple was just luck that it uh, turned out so good. This stuff. Oh, I broke his head off. No, it's magnetized. But these things that look a bit like Space Marines from up front, only the guy in the middle really looks like a Space Marine. All the other things are just blobs with two legs. But from a distance, you don't see that. And I didn't worry about fucking up. And so I just, yeah, I went ahead. So the three things that I want to tell you with this video and that might help you is have more confidence in yourself. You can do it. And if you fuck up, then, well, that's just it. Happens to all of us. I have many fucked up models. Um, Step two, I don't know, maybe create a character. And step three, worry about posing. Because oftentimes cool models end up looking shitty because of their pose. If you're uncreative or just don't want to think about poses at the moment, you can go online. Basically, I don't know, look up Lord of the Rings, pause at any fight scene, and you're gonna have a cool pose. Look at your favorite movie, look at the poses there, create that. I don't know. Just open your mind, and yeah, you're gonna have something pretty nice on the table. I really like this one. I think he's my favorite. Yeah.